All right. Right. So because we were in jeopardy, but isn't it amazing that the oral transmission, the oral Torah, which was transmitted from mothers to daughters within the home, was thinned out only in this last century. And why is that? Because we became a generation of spiritual orphans. Mothers and daughters were pulled apart. We had the war, and families were split and broken and shattered, and the mothers and the daughters were separated. And as they were separated, and the ones who survived ended up going to all different parts of the world. However, the transmission now was thinning out, forgetting, not knowing, never having gotten it. And so, as I said, the Gedolim from 35 years ago, most of them are no longer alive. However, I just would like to share with you the type of names, and keep in mind these are Gedolim who come from the Torah Yeshiva world, from the Hasidic world, from the Ashkenazi world, from the Sephardi world. In other words, everybody had to agree that we were in danger of losing this Torah. So I'm just going to quickly mention the names in case any of these names mean anything. It was the rabbis who gave approbation, Haskamas, Rav Elyashiv, Rav Gans. Rav Gans is Baruch Hashem still alive. Rav Elyashiv Zatzal. Rav Scheinberg, Chaim Pinchas Scheinberg Zatzal. Rav Shalom Cohen Zatzal. The Admor Mesans, the Admor Mesans, Rav Yaakov Hillel, Shiachya, and we have here Moshe Halberstam, and we have Shlomo Volba Zatzal, and Moshe Halberstam Zatzal. We have also, who else? We have Rav Vazner Zatzal, Rav Karelitz Zatzal, Rav Kaduri Zatzal, Rav Kreiswerter Zatzal, Rav Moshe Shapiro. Rav Moshe Shapiro worked with Rav Schlanger, who wrote the Sefer, to ensure, he was like, they collaborated, so to speak. And he's no longer with us. Moshe Aaron Stern, Zatzal. And it's quite a number of people. I hope that you may have recognized some of the names. Okay, before we start, so Ohel Rachel, again, is the oral Torah transmitted from mothers to daughters. We were in jeopardy of losing this Torah, and the Rebbeim, the Gedolim at the time, 35 years ago, agreed to have that oral Torah written down. And now, as we are in a situation now that, as I said, we're spiritual orphans, we didn't have it. I personally spent 11 years learning this Torah with the Rebbetzin Helfer. I've been teaching it for 30 years, almost 30 years. And the question is, why doesn't every Jewish woman know about this Sefer if this is the oral Torah of every Jewish home, every Jewish woman in her home? Because the Sefer is written like Torah. It's like a skeleton form, and it's only in Hebrew. So 12 years ago, I was approached by Mosaica Press, and they requested that I write a Sefer based on Ohel Rachel in English. So I did, and this is what came out of it, 12 years, and it's called The Simcha of Marriage. It is really a translation and explanation of Ohel Rachel. Not the whole Ohel Rachel, but enough so that women can now, this oral Torah is now accessible to our generation of women, and from here on to future generations of women. For me, I feel it's a greatest honor and privilege because this is historical. Really, the real historical event is this. It's unfortunate that we needed this, but this is the fact. And there's always, the oral Torah was always oral, A-U, which also means you hear it and you speak it. We needed it, and the Gedolim knew it, because without the oral Torah, Am Yisrael, that is as essential. It's like the hidden secrets, and it's as essential as the written Torah. And one more thing, oral Torah is based on written Torah. Torah Shebaal Peh is based on Torah Shebiksav. So this Sefer, and so here as well, is all with quotes. Everything, this is a Torah Sefer. And it's a Torah Sefer that deals with the most important mission of the Jewish woman in her life, and that is the continuity of Am Yisrael. Now, you see, you don't want to think that it's only our mission, we as women, but yes, there is the predominant aspect of transmitting is in the home, mothers to daughters, and now we can be a mother to our own mothers if we have this now and we learn. And this is what this year is all about, learning together with me. And through this learning, we're going to access this oral Torah. And before we do that, however, I want to stop. We have people from out abroad, but here, it's what happens here in Eretz Yisrael is now it's a global event. And I want to take a moment to say Per Kuf Chaf Aleph, that Tehillim for the safe return Emir Hashem soon of our hostages and our soldiers. And with that, because there's something new, there's a new beginning with Hashem's help and the Jewish woman in the Jewish home, because a lot of this new beginning really is going to take place in our homes. And hopefully this learning will help us. So Emir Hashem, with all this new beginning, we're going to see the Geula Shlema B'Karov, Emir Hashem. So you can follow on your own, or you can just listen to me as I say this, and I will emphasize some of the words that I speak very deeply to me. Shir Lamalos, Esa Enai El Haharim, Me Ayin Yavo Izri. Ezri Me Im Adonai, Ose Shamayim Va'aretz. Al Yitain Lamot Raglecha, Al Yanum Shomrecha. Hine lo yanum v'lo yishan shomei Yisrael. Adonai shomrecha, Adonai tzilcha al yad yaminecha. Yomam hashemesh lo yakeka v'yareach balayla. Adonai yishmorcha mikol ra. Yishmor es nafshecha. Adonai yishmor tzescha uvoecha me'ata v'ad olam. The few words that I want to just mention from this particular Tehillim is the idea that Hashem is our shadow. Women especially have an intuition that when we can talk to Hashem in our own words. Hashem, that's what it means to be the shadow. What is it for? It's for personal prayer. It's to be able to access the help we need at the time we need it. And our needs, Hashem is waiting for us to nudge him for everything. So first is Hashem is going to protect us. And if we have fear, concerns, then if it's worth worrying about, it's worth praying for. Hashem is right there waiting for us. Hashem, help. and know that in the end, safety and protection comes from Hashem, and what affects the level of Hashgacha Pratis, Hashem's involvement, is how much is the quality or of our relationship with Hashem. Hashem wants a simple relationship. Simple. Some people said they remember their grandmothers going to the mezuzah and talking to their grandmother and talking to Hashem at that, because that was like the holiest spot. But that's what Hashem wants. He wants us to feel his closeness and make it into a relationship. Okay. Now I want to start. If anybody, again, I'm just going to mention, if you want, everything that is in here is also in here. So really, we're going to focus on the Simcha marriage, and I want to take the cover and just discuss with you really what's going on here, because Hashem actually designed this, and I cannot believe it. How special. So the triangle is really the relationship between in our lives between ourselves. Now this could be our fellow Jew and a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Now it's the way I'm going to relate. I hope everybody can see, from myself here to the other is a direct function of my relationship with Hashem. Now, what does that mean? That means that I'm going to go into a relationship that's going to be deeper than my feelings and beyond my intellect. Because my relationship with Hashem, first of all, somebody will say, prove Hashem exists. And we know talking to Hashem, we know Hashgacha Pratis, we know Siyata Dishmaya, we've experienced enough. But we have to, the way we are going to understand the circumstances of our life and the people that Hashem sends in our life, right, is really by recognizing that the person in front of me that I'm going to be interacting with and the circumstances were sent by Hashem. So the way I'm going to connect to this person is by going to the sender first. And that will take me deeper than my logic and deeper than my emotion. Why? Because this is the realm of Emunah. Emunah, believing in our connection to Hashem, that Hashem is everything. Emunah is what is going to bring us to recognize that the people, the circumstances, everything is from Hashem. And if I want to make any impact in any direction, I have to first humble myself, because my intellect is going to say, ooh, is going to judge this person. My emotions are going to say, ooh, this doesn't feel right. But my neshama, the part of me that's connected to every other Jew and to Hashem, is going to say, Hashem, you sent this person. It's a test. And every test, we want to have a helper. Who's going to help us? I can't meet this test. This person is very challenging, difficult. How am I going to meet this person? Well, this person is challenging, but Hashem, you sent them to me. So this whole dynamic of turning to Hashem and recognizing, if I have to go, it's not to say that I'm going to ignore my emotions and intellect, but I'm going to first get to Hashem to deal with this. So that's the triangle. And what does it mean? It means we're all interconnected. I need, if Hashem, if you send this person to me, then I need you, Hashem, to help me. And this person you sent in some way is a test for me. And you're going to help me with that test, Hashem. So there we have it. Now, for those of us who are married, this triangle, because this is called the Simcha of marriage, is the husband and the wife. Again, it's no different than what I just said. It could be a husband, but it could be anybody else. This husband was sent to me from Hashem. And I am going to grow. I'm not going to go through this marriage. I'm going to grow through this marriage. I'm going to grow through this relationship. And how am I going to do this? How am I going to have? What am I going to ask Hashem? How am I going to know what the test is? How am I going to know how? And that's where we're going to find that and the growth and the relationship is really equal to the joy of life and the joy of relationship and the joy of having an intimate partnership with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And when we have this, so what will follow is we're not going to just stay in, this is a test, this is challenging, I need patience beyond what I have, let's say. I need sensitivity beyond what I have, let's say. Hashem, you put this person. I need a person who's more understanding than this person. And how am I going to interact? And that interaction has to, after I know what Hashem wants from me, then I can bend my intellect and bend my emotions to follow. But if I go on just my intellect and emotions, you don't have to study Torah Samecha. You can just go out to the world and everybody will, just do what comes naturally. What we're saying here is this type of view that nothing is accidental, and that in order to navigate in our relationships, the most important thing is this emunah. This is not an accident. This person is here. Doesn't mean I have to stay this close to the person, but I have to have a mission. Why Hashem sent this person and how I am going to grow through this encounter. And in so doing, finding tremendous benefits, results, the relationships, and the joy of the partnership with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I'm going to stop for a minute. I have a few people here. If anybody would like to ask a question at this point, because this is sort of like an introduction, and I took the cover to sort of give you a very potent message, which I don't know if people would have come to all the things I said based on the cover, but anybody want to ask any questions at this point? Okay, everybody knows who I am, Racheli Miller, Lions, happy, living in Ramat Beit Shemesh, formerly from Yerushalayim. I used to live in Ramot. Originally from, I was raised in Brookline, Massachusetts, many, many, many years ago. Okay, and I was educated at Maimonides Day School, and I'm very grateful to my parents who sent me there, because my parents, having gone through the war, they were one of the few refugees who came to America and sent their children to day school. So I got that beautiful day school education, Hebrew education, and when I came to Israel, Eretz Yisrael, 30 years ago, I was able to, because of that wonderful education, immediately enter into Hebrew-speaking shiurim that introduced me to Ohel Rachel. If I didn't have that, it would have been Hashem. It was just Hashem's incredible gift. Okay, so if you have the Sefer, so again, you have the Sefer. I'm going to start with the first, right here, the first chapter, which is on page 17, right? And I'm going to read now. The first, I want to give you a little, also a little survey of the Sefer. So the Sefer is very interesting. Anywhere that you see a cloud, that page is a direct quotation from Ohel Rachel with a very loyal English translation. This is so you have the Hebrew, with the sources, if it's a quote from Chumash, if it's a quote from wherever, and you have the English translation. Then here on a regular white page with black, that's me. That's me. I worked with this wonderful co-authoress I had, is Rebecca Allen, and together, basically, we took my shiurim and we worked out how to express and make what this little piece that we quoted here from the Sefer, what it's trying to tell us in today's language. All right. So, and then it goes further. See, this is also explaining. They're short chapters because they're not even called chapters. They're really, we call them chapters, but they're essays. So this is essay number 1. And at the end of the essay number 1, and then the continuing part is again another quotation from the Sefer. And then we have, here, essay number 2. And then this is what's unique here is we have this dark piece. The dark section is imunim, how to put it into practice. How do we put a relationship with Hashem into practice? Simple. As a matter of fact, I'm going to read you the imun. This is the imun, expressing our love for Hashem. And it's this whole paragraph, one paragraph, but the bottom line is, even though we're whispering it privately, it makes a difference when we actually say the words, I love you, Hashem. Thank you for loving me. Okay? That's the type of level. It's very accessible. It's not like we have exercises that you have to. This is just practical. How are we going to get to this relationship with Hashem in our life so that we're going to know within the circumstances of our life and the tests. People, it's very testing. The circumstances are testing and the people, but what we're gonna learn is humility, because we're not gonna figure it out on our own. Humility means I'm gonna ask right away to Hashem, help me. The first part of relationship is knowing I need you. I need you, Hashem, because my intellect and my emotions can take me very far away from where I want to be. Or even more importantly, from where you want to be, why you sent this person. You want me to be in a certain place. And the one thing I know is you want me to be in relationship with Hashem in order to get to connecting to the circumstances and the people. Okay, so I explained to you that so anytime you open a page, I'm just going to give you another example. Arbitrarily, you open a page. What did I open to? So you see, this page has explanation of whatever was the quotation, and it has a little dark part of the page, which is an imun, an exercise. And you can see these exercises are very very, very small and very easy to do. Okay, so now we're going to start with chapter 1 from Ohel Rachel, but we're going to learn it from the Simcha of Marriage. Okay. So, for the sake of for those who are not familiar with the Hebrew, I'm going to just quickly read to you the English quotation, and then I'm going to tell you what we're going to learn based on that quotation. So the quotation is, at the beginning of the marriage relationship between Am Yisrael and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What do you like that? We're talking about the beginning of a marriage relationship between Am Yisrael and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's a pretty tight relationship. At the beginning, when did that happen? At the beginning of our encounter at Har Sinai. HaKadosh Baruch Hu turned to his people with these words. So you shall say to Beit Yaakov and instruct Bnei Yisrael. These are the things that you shall tell Bnei Yisrael. Okay, so the whole beginning of this sefer as I told you, is about relationship with Hashem. But this is a sefer on marriage. But yes, it's a sefer on marriage and all our relationships, v'ahavta l'recha kamocha, all our love your fellow Jew, all our relationships begin at Har Sinai. And that's what it's pointing out to you. Now, what happened at Har Sinai? Let's talk about it for a minute. Hashem gave us the opportunity to have let's say this is, I'm going to try to show you physically. One person and another person, okay? They come together, they can be very, very close, but they don't become one. Does everybody see that? They're very close. They know each other. There's a lot of, but there's an actual disappearance of the seam, a seamless relationship. So what happens? Hashem is looking for a relationship with the Am Yisrael, whereby the creator and the creation become one. Now this is there's no other religion that even approaches this idea, because it's an ideal. It's Hashem out of Hashem's imagination wants to have a world within which this relationship between us and Hashem is going to draw Hashem into this world and bring Kedusha, holiness, into the world. And it's going to bring Simcha into this world. And it's going to bring everything that's important. And what's everything that's important? It becomes important through our connection to Hashem. If we have, what are the enemies that we're experiencing now? They're not fighting the Jews, they're actually fighting Hashem. Because we represent Hashem. They want their own religion and they want it all over. I heard, all right, I won't get distracted. Okay, so now we're saying that here we're talking about a marriage relationship, and where does it start? What is the foundations for relationship? It starts at Har Sinai. Hashem wanting a relationship with us. Now, what are we going to learn about how Hashem wants his relationship with us? What are we going to extract from that? So first, based on this quotation, we hear that Hashem, the Torah, was spoken to Beis Yaakov. It was given over to the women first. And then it was given over to the men. Actually, I heard from Rav Zev Leff even that there's the Maharsha, is one maforish, one commentator that says that the Torah was only given over to the women, and the women gave it over to the men. And the reason I like to mention that is not because we have to accept or not accept, but the fact is that somebody that is, the Maharsha is not a small individual. This is a great scholar, a Torah scholar. And if he had that vision and that understanding, I like to factor that in, because you have to understand what we're saying here is women have spiritual gifts. And those gifts and those strengths need to be activated so that the men can also receive Torah. What is one of the gifts that a woman has it's called the gift of desiring connection. We want closeness, we want connection. And the more we want it over here with somebody in front of us, the more we have to also be connected this way. Torah is our connection to Hashem, and Hashem guides us in connecting to the people around us. I'm going to give you, just so that you have a mission here, we're going to work towards a mission. What's the mission? How am I going to stay connected to the people who are in front of me when I don't feel like being connected to them, even if they're Jewish? The circumstances make me feel like I don't want to be connected to them. So it takes a relationship with Hashem to be able to know that I have to learn through my relationship with Hashem 3 things that I am obligated to put into practice in my encounters with my fellow Jew. 1, I have to make them feel important. What does that mean? This room, you have to make room for another way of looking at things. You have to be able to hear the most maybe unacceptable ideas to us personally, but we have to be able to make the other person feel important. Not that I'm going to do what they're asking, not that I'm going to agree with what they're asking, but I'm going to be able to say, you're right, that's one way of looking at things. I'm going to make room for another person. That's enough. That's all we have to do to make another person aware of their importance, as opposed to taking the hot frying pan and knocking it over somebody's head to make him say, I think, get those crazy ideas out of your head. That's not what Hashem wants. It's my test. My teenager comes home and asks for something that is totally ridiculous, but it doesn't have to be a teenager. It could be my neighbor, it could be my husband. These are my tests. And we can say, I wish I could do this for you. I know this is important to you. I know this is one way of looking at things. There's a whole language that creates connection. And women, we have received the Torah which is our connection to Hashem first, because Hashem gave the Torah and modeled for us this, what we call soft speech. Speaking in a way that doesn't speak to the head of the other person, doesn't even speak to their heart, speaks directly to their neshama. Okay? And that's what it's meant when it says, but Tomar Leves Yaakov. That's the Hebrew. But the English, we translate it, so you shall say to Beis Yaakov and instruct Bnei Yisrael. The the wording in the beginning of the Chumash when Hashem and when Hashem gives the Torah to Moshe, gives the Torah, it says that it is given over Rashi explains to us, it's given over in a soft modality, not a different wording, but a soft modality. Now, this is a gift. It is because when we use this soft modality, we are connecting to the neshama. That's what Hashem wants us to do, because that's what everybody needs. We need to feel our importance. I don't have to be crushed by anybody else. If I want to correct somebody, I can say. If let's say they said something or did something that was very inappropriate, I can say, yes, I hear this is something important to you. It would mean a lot to me if you could say it in a kind and loving way. We can express what we need from the other person after we know that we've given them their importance. I'll give you a second thing is you have to give them their safety. They have to feel safe. And third, the redeemability. This is our mission. In the Jewish home, we have to stay connected to Hashem to be able to make the people in our life important, safe, and redeemable. That's a woman's mission. And the Sefer gives us the ways to do it in a kind and effective way. Effective because it's what Hashem wants from us, and it will bring about our personal growth, as well as it will benefit all our relationships. So here we are, and it makes sense now. If I'm telling you that relationships this way starts with this way, and Hashem is modeling for us as women, we have a spiritual advantage. We believe, we feel, we yearn for connection. We have an intuition that there is a Hashem. And we have also the power of soft speech. Hashem modeled it for us. He spoke to us. He didn't say, here's my Torah, you better follow its commandments or else. It was more in the approach was, here's my Torah, my dear daughters. Right? There was no the threatening part of the threats, the punishments. The emphasis on the punishments is in the Torah is meant for the men. We bring in the softness. We bring in the desire for connection and relationship. We bring in the making room for another way of looking at things. And when we bring that in, it becomes part of the dynamic, and it does get transmitted from us to the husbands, the children, the neighbors, whoever we meet. And it's why it's effective is because this is what Hashem wants from us. He said, Hashem gave us this koach of desiring connection, because Hashem desires. It's like we have, when we say the morning blessings, we say, Asani kirtzono. Hashem made me according to his ratzon. What's Hashem's ratzon? That we have a relationship with Hashem. And women have that koach. So, what does this mean? What is this telling us? This is very important. We have to look at our lives the way Hashem wants us to look at our lives. Now, which means we have to learn how Hashem wants us to look at our lives based on the Emunah that nothing's by accident, everything's from Hashem, and Hashem is waiting for this partnership with Hashem to help us navigate and grow through the circumstances. So putting Emunah into the picture is not going to necessarily match up with my intellect. It's not going to necessarily match up with my emotions. But it is going to enable me to have the relationship and to connect to the people that are in the way that Hashem wants. Now, let me point out to you that there are some people, if it's annoying, it does not mean we have to stay close. Sometimes there's a value and there's a need to create a space. Now, a space is different than a disconnect. Disconnect is not what we're talking. Every Jew is unique and important, no matter what, unless they're something's wrong with them. But every Jew has a Jewish neshama. They're unique. They're important, and therefore I need them. I might not need them at this level. I might need them at a non-invisible side, so just enough so we don't see each other. But it doesn't mean that I'm going to disconnect. I'll daven for them. I'll daven for myself. I'll pray that the relationship will improve. I'll pray that they'll see things better. Whatever. Space is okay. With the goal that we'll be able to get the space will be able to become smaller. Sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes the space gets even bigger. And there's nothing wrong. The key is healthy space is important. But what's the key? I'm not going to disconnect. Because I'm going to accept the Emunah. Hashem teaches us every Jew is holy and unique and has a neshama. And I have to make them feel safe, important, and the third thing I didn't tell you is redeemable. If they do something that is painful or painful, disappointing, or however else, we have to be able to give them an exit route. How? We can say, I know this wasn't your intention when you said this, to make me feel in any way belittled. And that's why I'm trying to just share with you. And if we could I have a request. It would mean so much to me if the next time something like this comes along, you could say the same thing in a kind and loving way. Okay, so this is making another person redeemable, as opposed to you're paining me, you're causing me pain, you're back and forth, and it goes nowhere. If you want to have influence on another person, you have to make the connection with Hashem. Hashem makes all of us redeemable. How do I know? We have Yom Kippur. We have a whole day. And we even have on every month something called Yom Kippur Katan, the day before Rosh Chodesh. Hashem wants us to believe that that concept of being redeemable is going to be built into the system. Now, in a world that we're living in, where everybody's judging, that doesn't make a person feel redeemable. Person wants to feel first, if I'm redeemable, it gives me a sense of importance, and it gives me hope, and it gives me motivation to make a change. Now, it's not just the other person that I make somebody else redeemable, we have to know the other side of this is I need to make myself redeemable, which means that if I miss the opportunity to make somebody else feel important, redeemable, and or safe, any of the above, I miss the opportunity, and instead which would have been the opportunity to make a connection, I push them away. In that circumstance, I may have pushed them away, but I can now redeem myself. I regret the wall that now has come up. I regret the distance. We were this far, and now we're this far. I regret. And this is what we can say. I regret. Yeah, and I want to preface it with humility and sincerity, every situation can be redeemed. So what we want to be able to say to the other person is, I regret what I just said or did. My posture, my tone, my whatever it is. This is what I wished I had done. This is what I wished I had said. This is how I wished I had said it. Okay? Please forgive me. And then the next thing, that's 3. Number 4 is the most important, really, is Hashem. This is part of the humility, is speaking to Hashem, because we miss the boat, we miss the opportunities from a place of weakness. And Hashem is just waiting. He's our shadow. He's just waiting for us to ask him to help us. This is a place of weakness. And I think that with the common word I hear today is trigger. Have you heard that word? It's been used a lot. All right, this is a trigger. And then I go down real fast. But it's really a place of weakness. It's a weak link. I want this chain to be strong. I want this connection to be strong, but this is a weak link. I need your help, Hashem. Help me. Now, again, what are we helping? For the next time something like this happens, we're going to go into the mode of what I wished I had done, as opposed what I wished I had said. Now, learning this language that we're talking about here is like learning a brand new language. There's almost no models for this in the world that we're living in, because everything in the outside world is the antithesis of what we're talking about here. The outside world guarantees almost that connections do not take place. And what is the big obstacle? One word: equality. Equality is a power struggle. Equality is a measuring stick. And that does not it does not empower us at all. It weakens us instead. It weakens our relationships. So it sounds good. Equality in relationships is not what we're talking about. Mutual respect in relationships, yes, of course. But if I'm going to take out a measuring stick all the time, that's why Hashem, what I want to do is I don't want to measure you up and make you feel down. My goal, my mission is to raise myself by raising you up. And why am I raising myself? Because I'm not going to interact directly. I'm going to draw on my relationship with Hashem to give me the ability. Excuse me. Look at this. Okay, we're back. Okay. I'm going to draw. I see I froze. I froze again. Let's get back here. Okay. Hopefully I'm fine. All right. I'm going to draw that. I'm going to raise myself. I'm going to learn. I'm going to learn the simcha of marriage. I'm going to empower myself to have the type of relationship that is going to raise me. I'm going to be the daughter of, I'm the Bas Melech, the daughter of the king. And I'm going to take my power as being the daughter of the king and raise myself and raise those around me. You say, well, he doesn't deserve to be raised. He doesn't deserve to be raised. Hashem is not saying that. Hashem, no judgments. Everybody's redeemable. Everybody's holy, and everybody. This is my mission. Will I reach the goal all the time? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because Hashem wants us to be humble and turn to Hashem and recognize that we are limited. And without our relationship with Hashem, we're not going to be able to navigate through with our limitations through life, relationships, circumstances that Hashem's sending us so that we will connect to Hashem and be able to better interact. Okay, so this is here, we just finished the first section on of the marriage relationship between Hashem and Am Yisrael, and recognizing that Hashem first gave the Torah to the women. We have spiritual gifts, and among them is the power of connecting. Among them is the power of emunah, and the other, and also the power of humility. I need you, Hashem. I'm limited. I need you, Hashem. When we have it, our husbands have, our children, everybody will have it. If we don't have this quality of a relationship, everything starts disintegrating. Now, I'm going to ask, if you don't mind, this is how the shiurim usually go. At the end, I like to ask everybody to say one sentence or one word or one idea that was like new or stood out in your mind, because that way we really, once you say something, you start owning it. So if I may, and you don't have to feel, you can pass, but you don't have to say more than one word even, because I will expand on it. Just give me one word that struck you or one idea. If you don't mind, can I start with Roberta? Roberta, you just have to unmute yourself. Yeah, hi.
Yeah, there was a word that you used. I can't think of it. Like to validate the other person. But
make them feel important.
What was the word?
Make room for another way of looking at things. That's very important.
In other words, instead of bringing the person down, try to elevate them.
Absolutely.
Well, when you have an issue with them,
make them redeemable. Make them redeemable. Make them
redeemable. That's the word.
Yeah. Yes.
I like that.
Yes, that's exactly right, because they will feel their importance. And that's my mission. Hashem is telling us we have a mission. Thank you. Okay, Zena, one thing you heard. You have to unmute.
Okay, hi. Firstly, I'd like to say I really enjoyed listening to you. I've heard a lot about you as a person, but I've never actually met you before. I actually do live in Israel. I'm in Arnona, in Yerushalayim. So what I would like to say is that I really was not aware that if we built a relationship with people, we're building our relationship with Hashem. And that to me is extremely powerful.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you that you got that. Baruch Hashem. I feel so grateful that you would be able to get that in this. Okay, Daphne, one thing you heard today.
Hi. Thank you. there were a lot of things. I think redeemable was a big word. But I gravitate towards the beginning of humility. And that
Right.
is, I would love for you to expand how do you really bring in humility every day in everything all the time?
All the time. You know, that's our mission. We have a mission because we're not going to be able to. So I'm going to just, so you don't feel like, you know, you're sort of hanging. I just want you to know that humility is something that we acquire in recognizing that we need each other, starting with Hashem. I have limitations and I am weak in certain areas. I have strengths as well, but I absolutely need Hashem, and I need his help. And he's sending me these limitations so that I can turn to him. And you know where the proof is? Borei nefashos rabos v'chesronan al kol ma shebarasa lachavayos behem. Hashem created the chaser. He created us limited so that we will turn to him for help. And then it goes on to people. I need Hashem, and I also, if Hashem brought these people to me, I need them as well for my growth and for their importance. Okay? All right. Kayla.
Thank you.
Hi. I really liked it.
Hi.
It was really nice. My first time listening to you. I feel like I've heard about you because my parents live in Ramat Beit Shemesh, so I feel like my mother's like mentioned you before. I really liked a specific sentence that you said, with humility and sincerity, anyone can be redeemed. I feel like that's very true. Like when you're just real and like sincere, then like someone will just forgive you, or like everything will just be fine.
It's so true. It is so true. Okay, let me see if I have anybody else with me today. Hold on. I think that's it today. I am so grateful that you joined, and I hope that this class will expand. And it just give me an indication. I would really appreciate it for the benefit, for your benefit, and for my benefit. I'm not even talking about the financial, because this was not writing a book is not a financial. You know, when you buy a book in a bookstore, you might pay 100 shekels, but the author gets 7 on every. Yes, so it's quite. But I feel this book is important. It's because it's not a book; it's Torah, and I hope that if you stay with the shir, that you'll find that this will be very, very good, because you'll be able to reread, and I say things that are more or less, but you'll have the opportunity, because everything's written in essay form. So we did like the first essay today, and so hopefully you'll be able to. If you can't get the Sefer in your local bookstore, which I'm told people it is there, it's on Amazon, or if you live in Ramat Beit Shemesh, I have 500 copies in my house, maybe 450. Okay, so I'm happy to have you get it. Okay, my dear ladies, next week, same time, same place, and you have the Zoom link. Now, what you do have to do, so I know who you are, because maybe you could. How can I? Let's see here. How can I know who you? How can I know that I can connect to you again? Do I need to ask you?
Want to write down our emails?
That would be fantastic. Or how about, does everybody have WhatsApp?
Yeah.
I think that's the better way. Let's make a group. We'll make a WhatsApp group, right? The new Simcha Marriage WhatsApp group. How's that? Okay, so Kayla, just want to give me your WhatsApp number?
Mine's a little complicated, so if you can't get it, then I'll take your number and then I'll WhatsApp you because
No problem.
it's like a home
Let-
number, so a lot of times it doesn't work. But I'll give it to you,
Okay.
and then so it's plus
Okay.
972
Yes,
2999
yes.
like
999.
7695.
Thank you very much, Kayla. Okay,
Can I
Zena.
take your number in case?
Oh, sure. Let me give you all my number right now. It's 0544 313 998. Okay, thank you, Zena. Put that up again. It went too fast for me. Maybe I'm not good at this. So you have to, okay. Hold on. The
I can read it
technical
out
parts
to you.
for me are the worst. Oh, yeah. Could you please?
Yeah.
Okay, one more.
053 713 5595.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Next.
Daphna's is
Yeah.
054
I'm not
620
hearing it. Yeah. Yeah.
8448.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Zena, could you give me Zena's number again? 053.
I think she corrected hers. It was like a mistake in the first one. 053 713 5593.
And this is a WhatsApp number, Zena? Yeah? Okay, good. All right. And Roberta, what's your WhatsApp number?
Okay, it's 055
Yes.
569
579 3014.
59.
Oh, 55. I'm 055.
055
Yeah.
569
Oh, 569. Yeah.
3014.
Yeah, I got it. Oh, great. I got it, Roberta. Okay, tell your friends. We just beginning. We have a journey to go together with. And I just want you to know that for now, oh, Ken, very much true. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, tell your friends. And I'm doing this, I usually, this series for free because I want the women to get to know this is your birthright to know what's in here. And I want every Jewish woman, I love you all. And I want every Jewish woman to have this in their, and this awareness and this powerful, empowering safer. This is a very empowering safer. Okay, ladies, thank you so much. Have a wonderful week.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you. Very nice.
Bye-bye. Okay. Stop.